You ever get mad? I mean, like, really mad. Like mad down in your bones. Where everything gets all warped and fuzzy. Well, that's where Jesse is at the top of this episode. And you know, tough guy like Viktor, he's just gotta choose this moment to go ahead and push. So he, like us, get a chance to glimpse into Jesse's darker side and see just what Tulip keeps warning Cass about. It's Preacher, Season 2, Episode 5, Dallas. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Preacher. So yes, of course, lots of spoilers are in here. Alright, so the opening of the episode, yes, beautifully done. I loved how they shot the whole blinding rage. And you said that feeling where everything is all warped and fuzzy and the hearing is just off. And I mean, it was wonderfully done. And especially just as he's almost like trying to recover out of it, Viktor's got to go ahead and push him again, which just leads to that whole just dragging Viktor down the hallway, downstairs, past all of his frozen minions there. It was disturbing and powerful and frightening all at the same time. It was wonderfully done and really illustrating just that like I said, that blinding rage, just not even thinking of where Jesse is at. He's gonna get this guy and he's just gonna put him in a place and he's gonna figure out what he's gonna do then. And not even Tulip is going to be able to stop him, which makes sense, of course, because she is going to share a little bit of that rage that he's feeling, that betrayal that's really fueling all of this. And you know that it's something strong when he uses Genesis against Tulip. He did that once when she asked her to, told her never again. So you know this is one of those signs. This is him at his limit. Though I do have to say, I loved also how Tulip can almost fight against it, where it's not just the same blind obedience everybody else does, but she's actually able to sort of work against, and I think that's just, I mean, it could be a sign of her physical strength, but I think it's really maybe a pure lack of dedication on Jesse's part, plus Tulip's connection in with him, where it's that war and battle. How far do we go, and how much are these two going to be butting heads to figure things out? So I loved how everything all set up in that first scene. But of course, what we're really diving into here is the main events that happened after Dallas, the title of the episode. After everything went wrong, Carlos dumped them after their big heist gone south, and really losing the baby, the loss of the pregnancy that Tulip was in right there. And so we get to sort of see how the results of that led to their separation. Now, it's been said that marriage can rarely survive the loss of a child. And, you know, that makes sense because there is such an emotional toll that gets taken from that type of loss, is that any difficulties between the two adults there is only going to be magnified and fueled in big negative directions. So that really sort of makes sense. And that's exactly really what we are seeing here in this whole sequence, is sort of this slow motion decay and fall apart because of the loss of the baby. We can see that they are trying to, that Jesse and Tulip at least appear initially to be trying to move past their life of crime and move forward to really start a family. It was criminality in Jesse's mind that created the loss, and so therefore we are attempting to move forward out of that. And not necessarily doing a great job. Jesse certainly doesn't look very happy. His buddy Reggie, which I'm assuming is the next door neighbor that just keeps coming over, I mean, we can see all the initial stages there of the tearing the pages out of the Bible. Now, I have heard that Bible pages do make really good rolling papers, but still, especially in front of a preacher's son, I don't think Jesse really understood what he was doing, but even his small actions just start feeding towards that big explosion that happens in toward the end. But we get to see all those elements right here. Now, they are trying to step away from their life of crime, which is good, and I am glad, I have to say, I am glad when we find out that Danny is at least sort of their crime agent. Not in the sense of really trying to pull them back, but just the opening bits of that scene, she did not seem like a friend at all. There was not a strong, friendly feeling going on right there. Possibly fueled by the dinner, because peanut butter pot roast, that just sounds wrong. I don't even know what's in that. And she's pulling out of the bag was just like a couple of jars of peanut butter and hamburger helper. Who the hell uses hamburger helper anymore? The whole thing of ketchup, it was just, the elements involved with that meal plan was all wrong to begin with. So I have to agree with Danny. And I love that little bit when she's just like, I can't eat this. I'm sorry, is it a Jewish thing? No, it's a human being thing. It's disgusting. Because yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. But again, they're showing their attempts to sort of move past this life of crime. But it's not really working. I mean, they're trying to live a regular life that neither of them are really prepared to do. And the repetition, the whole sequence, I thought was amazingly done. It was perfect as we're just seeing scene repeating over and over and over again. It was exhausting, and it was maddening, and it was mind-numbing all at the same time. This repetition of go down to the liquor store, get some beer, get some smokes, get a pregnancy test. Walk back past the church, go up, have sex, test to see if she's pregnant, repeat and rinse. It was wonderfully done, and I loved how they framed all of those images as just this quick playing, especially with the second point when it just had sort of the quirky music going on with it. I thought it was perfect. Now, I have to say, I was wondering, because you were waiting to see when is Jesse going to turn back and decide for that moment to be a preacher. And I have to say, I was thinking that moment where you can see the weakness, the repetition, that need for some sort of change in his life, finally called him back to sit down and pray. Pray, please, God, just let this be true. Let us have a baby, and it's going to be great. And I was thinking, man, this could be the moment where it all turns. But of course, it's not. Despite his prayers, it is still disappointment. And then again, that return to the maddening cycle over and over again. And this is when they put the music in. It added almost a carnival flair to it of insanity. So I thought it was a nicely done. It really portrayed the emotion well, so that when we do get to that moment, when Jesse has to climb up and turn off the smoke detector and sees that bag poking out, that is just all the elements at that point had lined up for an explosion to happen. And it's certainly what did. So their big break, of course, comes when he does pull down and discover what's exactly inside the bag. The cash was one thing, and I think that might have upset him, that she had fallen back into this old lifestyle of criminality. It was keeping them alive, because he is certainly not real estate agent type. But I don't think that was the big thing. I think it was when he found the birth control pills inside that as well. I think that was the line. There's one thing to go back to the criminality. There's one thing to be lying to him about Danny. But starting that family, that loss of the child hit him so hard. I mean, yes, it hit her too. And we have to think, well, why would she do this? Is perhaps that loss was so painful that she did not want to take a chance of re-experiencing it again. That I can totally understand from Tulip's standpoint. From Jesse, of course, then he's just been doing this hoping and dreaming and praying over and over again, knowing that it was never, ever going to work out, that wasn't where she was at the moment. And that was the big cross. That was where everything fell apart. They certainly know how to be mean to each other. They were both digging in pretty hard. But as relationships do, the person you love is always the one that can hurt you the most. Unless it's Reggie's case, of course, because the person that can hurt him the most is Jesse. Because with all of that anger, with everything that builds up in that moment, he cannot attack Tulip. He loves her, but he has to release it. And of course, poor Reggie, who has honestly been trying to get out of this room for a little while, really, he should have run. He should have known ahead of time and run, because he'll never come back again. Not that Jesse was going to stand right there, because, of course, at that point, he had nothing left. And while Tulip did blame Jesse, saying that you were the one that left, that's true, but he did tell her where he was going to go. She chose not to go with him. She chose to let him just go. He didn't make her come with him, but she didn't do anything to go with. So really, they were broken up the night before. After they had that big argument when Reggie got the crap beaten out of him, that's when they had broken up. Everything else was just packing luggage. All right, now my favorite scene the entire episode, though, has to be the bit between Cassidy and Jesse up in Viktor's bedroom. In fact, we'll call it our scene of the week. Scene of the week! Oh, cool. Anyway, it was just, there was so much power and breadth of character in there, really getting just such a strong glimpse into Cassidy and kind of the connection between both him and Jesse, and really between Cassidy and everybody else, and Tulip and Jesse. We get to see, as Cassidy comes in, the more kind of flippant, crazy, regular, the facade, the mask of Cassidy, who doesn't really care too much and everything is cool, and look at the pretty sheets, and look at this, and oh my God, you did some amazing things downstairs. That's sort of the guise that Cassidy always sort of puts on. It's a protective measure. But when it really comes down to it, and we can start to see again that real side of Cassidy, who loves Jesse and Tulip. Yes, he has a certain love for Tulip, and there is a certain jealousy there, which he does in fact mention out to Jesse. But Cass's love is really, I think it's one of those where he's been around for so long that having some friends, having people that he actually connects with, I think that is so valuable to him. Because he has Dennis there, and we don't really know what the history between him and Dennis is. I kind of think that it's something interesting. But there's obviously not much depth there. Dennis could care whether or not Cassidy was showing up, whether he was there or on the other side of the country, it seems. But he really found something, I think, both a connection with both Jesse and Tulip that he is finding to be so valuable. We know that he's already been willing to risk his life. I mean, last season when he walked out into the sun and set himself on fire to try and demonstrate to Jesse how much he cares and trying to push Jesse to make the right scene. And this is sort of what he is doing also. He is admitting all of his faults and the mistakes that he has made. He is admitting freely that he did lie. But that he's trying to do the right thing, that he cares, he is split. He's caught between a rock and a hard place because he cares about two people. Those two people are fighting. He doesn't want to seem to make sides, but he also wants to help them get together. I mean, how do you do that without getting caught in the crossfire? You can't. You're always going to get shot at. But Cassidy is willing to take those blows, to take those hits in order to do the right thing. And even when Jesse turns around and kind of throws it back into his face, how can I trust you? How can I do it? You were in my face and you were lying to me and all this and all these moments here. How can I trust you? That's when Cassie's able to turn and use that other side of him where he's able to just go, yeah, you know, I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to back you up, whatever it is that you want to do. He's deflecting that anger that's being thrown at him beautifully and really throwing it back into Jesse's face and saying, look, whatever it is that you want to do, I'm going to be there. Because, yeah, if Tulip was my girl and somebody had touched her, you're showing a lot more restraint than I am. And in this point, really showing to Jesse that Cassidy could go a lot darker than what Jesse is. And in that sense, again, much like in that scene back in season 1, is trying to show Jesse that he is a better person than Cass. And in some ways, that is what Cassidy likes about Jesse, that it's almost someone that he can look up to that can help pull Cassidy out of this negativity for him. So it was just, I loved the scene. I loved the back and forth. It was really powerful. There was so much there was so much character and so much statement being made, and it wasn't big and loud or anything. It was just a conversation between two people, and I thought it was beautifully, beautifully done. So of course after that is Jesse does his last bit at Viktor, and this is where we see where that scene that Cassidy did, the impact that it has. Because when he goes in and he says, all right, it's the time, and Viktor does his last little mucky statement, is he nails the truth. He says, you know why he left? You know why she left? Because you're an asshole, and I treated her nicely. And that's exactly what Cassidy had told him in the room, is that she loves you, but you hurt her, and she went away, and she hooked up with the first person that was nice to her, that showed a smile. Exactly what Cassidy said is exactly what Viktor replies. And while that may be the one moment that's going to push someone to kill him, to end it right there, for Jesse it was the clarity of thought. That moment of, it's right. I did push her away. I was an asshole. And of course she is going to come and reconnect. So, I mean, that was great, and even how it all sort of played out after that. I love the scene when Jesse gets back and you have that tension of not knowing whether or not he killed Viktor or not. He's like, I let him down. Oh my God, what did you do? Oh no, I let him down off the rope and he's fine. It was perfect, especially how Jesse is throwing off like, well, of course I wouldn't do that. You would leave me. Even though Cass said no, she wouldn't. Yeah, Jesse knows that she would have. That was what Tulip threatened, and she doesn't lie. She does not threaten pointlessly. So yes, beautiful setup, beautiful little setup. Love their little kiss and connection. And you know, I gotta say, when we did get that little flashback of Tulip and Viktor together in the bedroom there, you know, it was sweet. He was nice, he was good to her, and she was nice to him. He cared about her. But it was just hearing about Carlos again, that loss. The loss is what pushed her from Jesse, what pushed her into Viktor's arms, and then when she gets that call about Carlos, that's all that she wanted. Now it's revenge. She doesn't care about the joy, she doesn't care about the escape, it's just the revenge, and that's why she just leaves. So when Viktor comes back in, oh man, I gotta say, as much as sort of a killer, badass guy that he is, I felt for him. I felt, you know, it was hard. And then even that last scene where he's in with his daughter, he's good to his daughter, he's nice, he cares, he's reading to her. But of course, you know, nothing good lasts for too long, because Jesse did use the voice. He did use Genesis, and he used it in that house, and you know what has happened. Anybody who hears the voice, who hears Genesis, is taken out by the saints, who just wipes out everyone in the house. Hopefully not the little girl, because she's going to tell him where to find the preacher, and that better save her life, because if Saints just kills that little girl, I mean, that's wrong. That's crossing a line. All right, just a couple of small, brief things here. One, did you catch Viktor's picture inside of Danny's briefcase there? He's going through all the cases. Here's the art house, but they're behind it. And here's the next one. Oh, it's a guy in New Orleans, just needs some freelance help. There's Viktor, and of course, so that's probably how Tulip ended up meeting Viktor, is doing that job for Danny. That scene when Cassidy first enters into Viktor's house, oh, the lighting in that was just beautiful. I mean, it's all subtly lit, everything kind of in shadow, and then we just had that green light shining through the windows down in the back room, and then, of course, on the frozen guy right there that Cassidy had to just push over. Plus, we had that sort of recessed amber lighting on top. I mean, it was just a wonderful color combination there. Really set the scene nicely and beautifully. Cassidy dealing with young Allie there. She shows up at the apartment. Yeah, we do fun like nobody's business. Yeah, sure, Cass. But he hands her that box of lentils and shoves her into Dennis's room. When she comes back afterwards to find out whether or not her dad is dead, she's still gripping onto that box of lentils. I don't know. You know, for a kid panicking, it's like, this is my safety blanket right now. I just have this box of lentils and that's all I need. All right, I think that's just going to wrap things up for this week. Now, next week, we are going to have to find some defense against the saint of all killers. Did look like little Allie survived there from that brief little sneak preview, but she's going to be showing the way to get to Jesse and Tulip and all of them. So they're going to have to find some answers. They're going to have to look up and figure out what's going to stop the saint of all killers, because otherwise this is just something that is never going to stop. They will constantly be pursued until they are dead. So hopefully next week we get a little glimpse into the past of the saint. All right, so if you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, you know where to put them. Section right down below. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy that scene between Jesse and Cassidy? Did you have a favorite scene of the week? Go ahead and let me know, and we can chat about it. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes. Now, we are doing The Preacher here, of course, but we've just started Game of Thrones, and we've got a lot more shows coming up, so you don't want to miss any of that, and you won't if you're a subscriber. How do you become one? You hit my little picture right there, and that's it. It's quick and easy. And I will show actually our review for the season premiere of Game of Thrones right there. You can check that out. So, that's it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.